Salutations!
Welcome to the Film Mages Podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is a place of worship.
Now let me see your war face. Ah!
Well, it's early, everybody.
Oh, is it ever?
It's very early.
Oh, boy. I walked 25,000 steps yesterday. My feet hurt.
Why did you walk that much?
Because I ran 4 miles at the gym and I worked for 8 hours. And I don't feel well at all.
Wow.
I don't feel well.
Well, you look how I feel.
It's impressive.
Which is,
handsome?
I feel great.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, buddy.
Hey, sometimes we need a bit of love.
I do.
In the morning.
I need it bad right now.
I tried to give him some love last night, but he was too tired.
I was too tired to give Mick my love. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Film Majors. I'm Zach.
I'm Mick.
I'm Alexis.
My mic is running away from me, and we have a guest.
Who is it?
Hi,
Who's that?
I'm Zoe.
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 Zoe Hughes. Zoe, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your deal? What's going on?
I think first and foremost, I'm ZH, so forget about the other ZH, Zach Harris.
Don't forget about it.
I've already forgotten.
No, I'm a good friend of Zach's. We work together on a lot of projects, and a movie and TV lover, I guess.
Hell yeah.
And rather importantly, if you are a big fan the way I am of our album art,
Yes, our podcast artwork.
then you have the real ZH to thank for that. So thank you, Zoe. We love your
Don't love the
contribution.
tenor this is taking
great.
for me, but I will applaud.
You're the
Zoe.
real one.
Oh my god, my mic is legitimately
Yeah.
running away from my mouth.
It's probably because you have bad breath.
It might be. I haven't brushed my teeth yet
It's
today.
like, oh my god, what is that?
Oh, sorry, Mick.
It's okay. I'm used to it.
Yeah. No.
You
if
learn to love it.
If you listen to
You learn
our,
to crave it.
I
I want it.
I was gonna give some context about Zoe and projects we worked on.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, if you listen to our Ravenous episode and you heard me sound extremely fucking dead, that was when I was working on American Flake, which was a project that Zoe and I worked on together. Zoe was the art director and many other things.
Anything art,
Yeah, basically anything, actually. I think you could branch that out. Everybody wore a lot of hats. But yeah,
Very
it
true.
was a lot of fun. We got the classic crew together, me, Zoe, past and future guests, Jacoby and Jake. Really just a classic gang. We were kind of known as the bad boys of South Eugene High School. We roamed the halls. We had dice in our pockets, kind of straight razors. Always be flicking a coin. So if you're picturing
D&D
Zoe, picture
Yeah.
this. Yes, sure. No.
Yeah, I definitely hung out with them in high school when Zach was wearing Doctor Who cosplay.
No.
I thought
say,
that was
it's
really
cut.
cool.
It's cut. Oh, it crackled out. Hey, has anybody seen any movies recently? I know I have.
So I actually saw a new release. I saw a new film called Zach Used to Wear Doctor Who cosplay.
Interesting, because I saw
And-
Alien
I love that
Romulus,
one.
and
You saw
so
Alien
did you.
Romulus? Did I?
You did.
I remember you were in it, weren't you?
What did you think, you fucking rat?
You were in.
God damn you.
You were in the what's it called?
God damn
what's
you!
The phone
I
booth called?
don't want to hear about it.
What's it called? It's not called a Tesseract.
personally didn't love Alien Romulus.
I just can't believe you've reneged so much on your love of Doctor Who.
It's just I'm not.
It's been a bit.
I'm not 14 years old.
It's been a bit
Is
on this
he-
show, Zoe, that he's
Okay, but,
angry.
So many people still
He
love
loves
Doctor
it.
Who.
I
What's
just
really
don't-
wrong with that?
It's not like I haven't
Yeah, don't be
tried to
afraid.
watch it in the future. It does not hold up.
You mean in the present or the
Okay.
future?
Well, you should
In
try
the
to watch it
future,
in the
from when I
present,
was
yeah.
watching a lot of it.
You've gone
also
to the
known as the
future
present.
just to watch
But
Doctor
also,
Who.
I'm.
That makes
cosplay is
sense.
very
This fucking
cool.
sucks for
some
me.
people make
This
that their
sucks for
whole
me.
living. They get
Yeah.
paid to fucking dress up and just make videos on the internet now. Zach, you could have been making your living in Doctor Who cosplay.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not a twink.
That's a
I
really
couldn't
good
be.
point, Zach.
I'm not
You don't have
spindly
to be
enough. You have to be a
No, you
rakish,
don't.
spindly British man.
You don't
That's
have
the
to.
that's the bread and
No,
butter of that show.
just pick another character.
I
don't
think
wa-
you're putting yourself in a corner.
It's got to be that one, or it's no fucking deal. I want to be the star.
I get it. You still really like it. You want to be that
it's
character
true.
still,
He
and
does.
it's hard for you.
I'm not liking the beginning of our next 100 episodes.
What would you do if you went to the
gotta be
future?
honest.
I'd watch Doctor Who.
This sucks. This sucks.
If
for
I
me.
went back in time, I'd kill Hitler. I'd watch Doctor Who. That's you, Zach.
Is it?
That's you on the timeline.
Mick, what did you think of Alien
Zach, I
Romulus?
can't believe you just said that.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Wow.
blows.
So yeah, Alien Romulus. Who else here has seen it other than Zach? Has anyone seen it?
I'm too scared.
You're too scared?
I'm too scared of space.
Fair enough. Not for you
I
then.
thought, I
not-
thought about seeing it a couple different days after rehearsal, but then I was like, do I want to be up until midnight at the theater? I don't know.
Yes. No,
Especially
no,
after
no.
I read Zach's review, and then I was like, do I want to go to the theater at 10 p.m. to see this movie?
Don't
I
let
don't know.
Mr. Doctor Who Boo Hoo sway your opinions,
Oh my
Alexis.
God.
Have an independent mind.
Mr.
Decide for
Doctor Who
yourself.
Boo-hoo? Oh my god. Yes. That's
This
a new
blows.
one.
This just fucking blows. I'm too tired to do anything about it. I'm just having a shitty morning. This sucks for me.
We love you, Zach. It's okay.
I'm not happy at all.
So it's directed by Fede Alvarez, who did Don't Breathe.
Yes,
Right.
and the 2013 Evil Dead.
Correct. Okay, so it takes place in between Alien and Aliens, I believe, in the timeline. Not that the timeline makes a lot of... It's not that important to the Alien movies, but I think it does a lot of things right, but some very important things wrong. So it's a little bit of above a meh. It's fine. It's a decent film, but the human characters in studios, if you're listening, for the love of God, please give me more adults in my movies. There are all of the characters in here are fucking teenagers.
I'm tired of all these goddamn young people in
It
the
was
movies.
like watching Skins in space.
It was kind of.
That sounds amazing to me.
Yeah, actually, I love that.
Wow,
Yeah.
That made me want to go see it.
Yeah.
Just give me some people with
Same.
with fucking wrinkles, please. I mean, watch them in the original movies. There were people in their 50s and 60s and 40s, and everyone in here is like in their 20s. It's radical. I don't like it. I don't care about anyone. Really, not just because they're young, but also because the characters were poorly defined. None of them were likable.
I think
They need to cook a little more.
The thing that the first Alien is patient. That movie, the alien doesn't show up until an hour in, and you get to see a bunch of people who are really fucking sick of being at work. And then become very sick of something very fucked up happening at work. I think it was one of the co-hosts of Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe who said there's never been a group of people more annoyed to be in a horror movie than the cast of the original Alien. Because they are just trying to fucking get home. They're debating the bonus situation.
Yeah. Meanwhile, these characters are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They have ideology, and it's annoying. It's disgusting.
I don't mind the setup, but yeah, I think we maybe needed more time on the planet from Alien 3. My real issue...
Is that the same planet?
It feels like it.
Oh.
My real issue with Alien Romulus is that it feels kind of like a smoothie, if you will. I say raising my smoothie as a visual aid. A blend of all of the...
That was terrible.
No, it was good.
That was terrible.
All of the original Alien movies...
It's like sludge.
It is like it.
It's like sludge.
It is like sludge.
It's like
That's
space
actually
sludge.
a great fucking comparison. It feels like all of the other Alien movies blended together without adding much new, except for mild spoilers for this movie, but I feel like it's got to be out there at this point. They fucking resurrect a dead actor in this movie using CGI, and there's fucking no reason for it. There's no goddamn reason for
I hate it when they do that.
it's like, and it's really a Disney thing. I mean, I guess Warner Brothers did it a little bit in everyone's favorite movie, The Flash, last year.
Yeah, I love that movie.
You're always talking about it.
I'm kidding. I do not love that
You always
movie.
talk about how much you love The Flash.
Who did they resurrect in that?
Christopher Reeve. Yeah. But like
Yikes.
Disney has done this in Rogue One and now in this are the two like notable times, and it looks like fucking shit. It looks awful, and it takes me the fuck out of the movie.
It looks good when it's not moving. But the problem with a movie is that it moves.
And this character is in the movie so much.
Yeah. I was
so like is kind of the antagonist of the movie.
He 100%. Zach and I were talking about how when you first see this character, and if you're a big Alien fan, you're going to immediately recognize him. You see him in dark and you see him in silhouette, and I thought, oh, they do, like, you see him for like a split second and then that's it for a little bit. And I thought, oh, that's like a little Easter egg. It's a little wink at the audience that that's so-and-so.
No, welcome to hell.
And then, no. The rest of the movie is that CGI person, a recently deceased actor, as Zach said, just pulling the strings. I just don't like it.
Weird.
And this is a scary film. I think out of all of the recent Alien films, this is probably the strongest in terms of just like a haunted house in space sort of thing. The scares really work, but I still think the scariest thing is Mr. Uncanny Valley.
It's a fucking nightmare. It looks...
So then, what do you guys think about that new Tom Hanks movie Here?
Hell,
where he's like CGI
it's a Robert Zemeckis movie.
It looks so...
That's creepy.
Hell.
That's creepy.
I was literally just about to bring up the Polar Express. I am in hell.
It doesn't stop.
Because it looks so, like the concept of it, I'm like, oh, this is interesting, but then you watch the trailer and it's like, is this all shot from one angle? Is he CGI the whole time?
Yes.
What the hell is going on here? It looks so weird.
Quick thing, Zach keeps using the Breaking Bad meme, he can't keep getting away with this
Can't keep getting away with it!
about Baz Luhrmann. It really should be applied to Robert Zemeckis.
Oh, listen, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like every time I see a trailer for that thing, I go, ugh.
I have frequently said that the Robert Zemeckis like motion capture animation movies are in a class of film I would describe as being directed by the devil. And here, I just have a sneaking suspicion it's going to fall right into that category. I will see it. I need to see man-made horrors beyond my own comprehension. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's terrible. So last few things I'll say about Alien Romulus to wrap that up is, aside from the things that didn't work, I do have to say I think the movie is gorgeous. I think it looks great. I think it's one of the best looking Alien films, which is, I think, high marks because a lot of them look really good. The visual effects are fantastic and I believe done by Weta, if I'm not mistaken. The practical effects...
They're wet as hell, I agree.
The practical effects are fantastic. I love that they did so many practical elements, so many practical xenomorphs and facehuggers. I think it's cut a little jankily. It's not... The editing isn't brilliant, but overall I think it works. And also... I love the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, the last 15 are pretty fun.
15 minutes pretty rule. They're pretty great.
They pretty rule.
They pretty rule.
I think that's a pretty good transition into the other movie that I watched.
What did you see?
This has been a point of discussion on this podcast a few times. I finally watched Alien Resurrection.
Hell yeah, dude.
Hey.
Big fan?
That movie...
I was just talking about this in rehearsals.
Okay, so here's my thing about Alien Resurrection.
You love it.
I think...
That alien's adorable.
I think that's a worse movie than both Alien 3 and Alien Romulus, but it kind of goes down easier than both.
Bad take.
That movie is so stupid.
Okay, it's stupid, but it's fun. Okay.
Is she in love with the alien?
No,
I'm sorry, I haven't seen it. In the first couple Google searches, it looks like she's like in love with the alien.
Like, spoilers for I guess Alien Resurrection. But
you so can do it. It's okay.
Ripley comes back in this movie. So obviously, like, I think she dies at the end of 3, right? I was actually talking to somebody in rehearsals about Romulus, and then we were talking about Alien 3, and they said that they thought that Alien 3 is the worst one, and I said, I think that's the one that I forget about the most. It's the least memorable for me. Like, Alien Resurrection may be, like, not great, but it's the most fun of the bad ones for me. And that is because Ripley comes back as a clone, okay? So she actually has a little bit of the alien's DNA in her.
She's got some of that Xeno in her.
And so the alien that they cook up later on kind of sees Ripley as its mother almost in a way. And so Ripley's got this like hot slay clone mama alien shit going on, and I don't know.
Zach, I don't know. That sounds kind of good.
I would recommend watching it.
It's
I would
great.
absolutely
She's
recommend
hot.
watching it.
And Winona Ryder is also in it as like what are they called?
A synthetic, an android.
Oh,
A
is she?
synthetic human.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every single you're gonna say it. You're gonna say what every single shot of her and Sigourney Weaver looks like.
I don't know, lesbian rom-com.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, no, every single shot that Winona Ryder and Sigourney Weaver are in together, they look like they're about to kiss, and there's no bigger indication.
I'm looking
There's
now.
no bigger indication that movie was directed
And
by
yet-
a French pervert.
And yet, Zach, you say this is one of the worst ones?
I
Wait,
think
what?
like
Zach,
in
what do you
terms of
mean?
quality, Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who made Delicatessen and Amélie.
Yes. And it looks like Amelie. It's green.
It does. It has
It's
that like green
fantastic.
tinge to it.
That's bizarre.
Again, I am saying that I think it's the worst movie, but it goes down pretty easy. I think my big problem with that movie is the Joss Whedon of it all. That script sucks, and the dialogue makes me insane.
The only thing that I really ever watched of Joss Whedon was, I think, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's him, right? And I fucking love Buffy.
That is like a perfect show.
It really is. It's so good.
Don't
Fuck, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I tear up every single time that I watch Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
And you can ask me
At the
why.
end,
And it's
at the
when the
vacuum.
alien
I know
gets
why.
like sucked through the fucking thing, and it's
sad.
like trying to hold on, and it's looking at Sigourney Weaver like, "Mommy."
That's
as like a thin strand of loose skin is pulled off of its ass out a tiny hole in the window.
It's literally like in Dead Alive when the sphincter like gets like ripped.
Yeah, exactly.
I will just say I do recommend Alien Resurrection. It's dumb as rocks, but it is a fun watch, and I feel like I have to remark that it does feature Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky, wanting to fuck the alien.
Yes. Yes.
He's visibly horny for the alien.
And you get Ron Perlman.
Yes.
Which
he
one's
licks
Brad
glass. He's the guy who is looking at the alien
The creepy
queen
scientist.
in like the lab, and there's the glass between him and the alien queen, and he licks the glass.
Yeah, it's
it
great.
looks like I have to watch Alien Resurrection again because my man Chucky is in Alien Resurrection,
Yes,
and I
he
didn't
is.
even know it. Okay, but
So
side note, side note, trivia for Zoe.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, I love trivia.
So in one shot of the movie, because Ripley's like a clone and she's got like all these like superpowers now or whatever,
Love it, yeah.
she makes this she tosses a basketball back and makes it into the hoop, right? Okay?
She's trick shot.
She just trick shots
she
that
does a
shit,
trick
right?
basketball shot.
And everybody's so fucking, they're just like, oh, that's crazy, right? But in real life, they wanted to get that practically. So there's no CGI.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah, but she did it. Like, I think in like the first
It is the
shot,
first take.
or like It was the first take. And in fact, Ron Perlman, who's in this movie, almost fucked that shit up because he was so excited that she made it that he like totally broke character and almost fucked up the shot because he was like right in the shot. So they were like, it's fine. We'll cut really quickly.
That's amazing. Well, good for her,
right? It is a good for her moment.
Sigourney Weaver's like
so impressive.
Such a bad bitch. Such a bad bitch.
Yeah, she's perfect.
So that's a Film Majors mixed on Alien Romulus, full-throated recommendation of Alien Resurrection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zoe, have you seen any films recently?
Unfortunately, I live in Silicon Valley, and we don't get any of the cool art house stuff anymore. So I have a lot that's on my list. But I just saw Deadpool and Wolverine, and I saw It Ends With Us. But I don't know if you've talked about both.
I've talked about It Ends With Us.
Well, if you want to touch on that, I can touch on Deadpool and Wolverine with you, because I actually saw that last week, too.
Yeah, happy to talk about both. I thought they were both incredibly mid.
Yeah.
But It Ends With Us was, like, I thought that was going to be, like, the worst movie ever made.
Oh, the press has been so bad.
And I walked out of it being like, that was not the worst movie ever made. It is one of the worst books I have ever read in my life. And so I was like, how did they make this book... this movie somehow better than this book? But that's like, there's issues in that book. Like the main character is writing letters to Ellen DeGeneres like the whole time instead of having a diary.
What the fuck?
Very strange choice.
Yeah, like there's things in it, like there's dialogue in that book where I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever read in my life. And she's like, Dear Ellen, I'm opening a steampunk flower shop. Like, it's really hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And so they omitted a lot of that, and then the movie became watchable. Because I think if they had included things like that, it would have literally been unwatchable.
You know what, though? I was watching a video on TikTok that was talking about how her flower shop was supposed to be steampunk themed, and I was like, justice for steampunk. And it wasn't. Because steampunk is really fucking cool.
No justice for steampunk? Jesus.
No, because if
shut
they
the
write...
fuck up.
You don't like steampunk?
Not really.
You know what? I think this is in the same vein because I feel like a Doctor Who cosplay is like kind of, it's like, it's not on the same path, but it's kind of like parallel adjacent to like steampunk, you know? And so he's pushing it as far back in his brain as he can.
I got a new therapist. I'll talk to her. I'll talk to her about it.
You need to unpack with your therapist Wild Wild West.
Wild Wild West.
Oh, man.
Though, but I agree, Alexis, where I'm like, they should have actually, in the movie, done the production design and pushed it more steampunk. It was, like, Victorian, like, vintage, kind of edgy, but I'm like, no, in the book, she's, like, putting it in an old boot, and there's, like, gears and stuff in the flowers. Like, where is that? Where is that?
I bet you it's because when she wrote the book, that style was kind of popping off.
I think so.
Yeah.
But also she's like unforgivable. I think she's like one of the worst authors of our generation.
I've never read any of her books before.
Don't.
This is so funny. I've heard a lot of criticisms of This Ends With Us, but none of them have been, it wasn't steampunk enough. And I appreciate that.
These are the kinds of hot takes you come to this podcast for. What did you guys think of Deadpool and Wolverine?
Well, I had a fun time, but I am not really a superhero movie person. Superhero movie. Yes, that was right. I mean, I had this thought when I was leaving from an appointment yesterday morning where I was just like, oh, yeah. The reason why the movie was good at all is because they threw a lot of fucking money at it. Because, so, like, I feel like the top reasons why it's good is the cameos and then also their use of soundtrack. And
Yeah.
both of those things, you need like actually like an obscene amount of money to get all the stars that you get for that movie, and to fucking license a Madonna song. Like, I can't even imagine.
Right.
Shocking that they got that song in the first place, but apparently her son was really into Deadpool, I guess, growing up.
Oh.
So they approached her and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's fine," you know. I think that the mix that they did for the movie for her song was great. It was like a moment. Me and my sister, my sister was born in the 80s. She fucking loves that. That's like one of her favorite Madonna songs of all time.
I love Madonna,
I've seen that music video so many times. So like when that shit popped up in the theater, it was like my 9-year-old nephew was between me and my sister, and we just like both look at each other and we're just like, so stoked. But I mean, it's pretty mid. I mean, the shtick is not great, I guess. I don't know.
I have seen, I think, every single movie that Marvel has put out ever.
Wow.
Question mark?
Wow.
Even since Endgame?
No, all of them. Not all of the shows, because I'm not like a psychopath and there's too much content now. But like, and I'm not necessarily a fan. I just have like we used to always go to the theaters to watch them, you know, especially before Endgame. And then I was just like, I'll just keep going, I guess. and this one was definitely like them just trying to say that they can make a fun, like, blockbuster again, like, literally, to the audience, being like, we get that you're tired, look how fun this is. And I was like, it's not quite fun enough to make up for all of the horrible movies that they've made in the last, like, 5 years. But it was, like, pretty fun, and I have like such a soft spot for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
I have a hard spot
that
for
I'm
Hugh
like,
Jackman.
I will watch it. Like, I will watch any Wolverine film with Hugh Jackman. I'm sat. I will watch it.
We just talked about Australia last week. Hugh Jackman.
I
Hugh
love
Jackman's
that movie.
No,
because I love him.
Okay. Story time, real quick. Apparently, my dad was at work and like got into a conversation with some coworker. The podcast came up, and his coworker was like, "Oh, what's it about?" And he was like, "Movies." And he was like, "Oh man, I'm a big movie buff." They start talking. My dad's like, "Yeah, so their theme this month is Australian Cinema Month." And this guy goes, "I love that movie, Australia. It's one of my favorite movies." And my dad goes, "Maybe you shouldn't listen to the episode then."
That's funny.
We didn't. Okay, Zach, you may have taken a big fat shit on Australia, but
and
me and
rightfully
Mick did
so.
not
That's where it
personally.
goes.
Yeah. I was firmly on the
I may have
fence.
peed in the alley, but like not.
I was here for the lulz.
Listen, like Baz Luhrmann or not, that's his worst fucking movie.
How?
I feel like I saw it when it came out, and I haven't rewatched it, and I am like just like so entranced by Hugh Jackman that like where it exists in my mind is in,
if you rewatch
that will
holds
still
up.
hold up. It will still hold up in that regard. He does look great.
So,
yeah, he looks incredible.
Okay. So I have to say, speaking of Deadpool and Wolverine, which sounds like pretty mid movie with Channing Tatum. Ooh, I'm about to make my name for myself here. I watched Blink twice. The new film.
Oh, I'm desperate to see it.
It is. I quite liked it. But here's the thing. My dumbass was sitting in this theater waiting for Zoe Kravitz to show up. Like,
didn't she direct it?
Yes.
So yeah, I kept remembering her name was attached, but I was like, okay, that's not Zoe Kravitz. When is she gonna show up? Is she just gonna be like,
LOL.
When is this gonna happen?
Not gonna happen, Doc.
But I got so into the story, I completely forgot, and then it cuts to the end credits and written and directed by Zoe Kravitz, and I actually jumped out of my seat going, what? So impressive.
Did that alarm people in your theater?
No, actually. I think we all just did it in unison.
Wow, they need to get the word out on that.
There's a line in the movie that forgetting is a gift, and I have to say, in that way. It was kind of true.
That's how I feel about Doctor Who.
And I was very surprised. So Blink Twice, I think, is going to get a lot of comparisons to Get Out, in the sense that instead of like racial violence, it's sexual violence. And aside from that comparison, I think it's also apt because this is a very strong directorial debut. I'm very impressed. Zoe Kravitz has a narratively tight story. It looks great. It's cut together well. The mystery unfolds really well into this revenge-o-matic, and has a great ensemble cast, and it's a very funny movie. I was laughing out loud throughout a lot of the movie until suddenly the movie is absolutely no longer funny at all. And oh my gosh, does it go there. So by the time you get to the revenge-o-matic part, where our heroes are basically enacting vengeance on their wealthy, terrible hosts at this island, I was absolutely there for it. I loved seeing Adria Arjona again from Hitman. She continues to be fucking stunning, and she continues to just be so fucking good. And Naomi,
she's got the juice.
Naomi Ackie plays our lead, and her and Adria, they both embody this sort of complete vulnerability mixed with like titanium strength, and that's a tough. I feel like that's a tough thing to like give in a performance, but they do it so well. But yeah, I said, speaking of Channing Tatum, he is in this, and he plays an absolute fucking scumbag, and he's pretty good at it, I have to say. So if you want to watch a thriller, it is tough to watch in certain parts, but don't worry, the movie comes with its own trigger warning. But yeah, check out Blink Twice. It was pretty good. It's a good genre picture. It's another solid summer genre picture that continues this year's theme of women versus evil. Zoe, I don't know if you probably haven't heard this because I say this on the show a lot, but 2024 is basically like the year of women versus evil, because so many horror films, it's just female characters battling evil.
And we got a lot of good final girls this year.
It's so fucking many people. It's fantastic. So I'm loving it. Check it out. Good movie. And then one last thing I watched, I actually just watched it last night. Speaking of women versus evil, is I finally watched Sydney Sweeney's Immaculate, her evil demented nun film. Has anyone seen that? No? No? Only one? It is fine. It is like the perfect example of a meh movie. It didn't piss me off. I didn't get frustrated watching it, but I also was never excited watching it. It does everything you'd expect a horror movie to do, but it does none of it exceptionally well. There are a few really beautiful shots amongst otherwise completely serviceable cinematography. Sydney Sweeney, I've heard people say that she might not be the best actress, or at least might not give the best performance.
She's pretty
good. She wasn't great in this, except for like the last.
Depends on what she's doing.
In the last 5 minutes, she gets to go off, and I enjoyed that. Like the last 5 minutes is like this unbroken shot. It's very powerful, very raw. But everything else, and maybe it's because she's playing an American nun in Rome, and everyone else. I don't
buy that at all for her, but that's more of
her
a
American
accent's
issue,
great,
right? Though I have to say, I bought that. But yeah, it's okay. It's fine. I will say though, and we've talked about this numerous times on the podcast, that I was not hot on
the first Omen.
However, having seen Immaculate now, I appreciate it a little bit more.
Give it another shot.
I probably will.
Rules, kind of rocks. You've buried the lead, Mick, which is that Immaculate is 89 minutes long, and I'll be watching it.
Is it?
Yeah, clean 89-minute movie. Let's do it.
But can I say, though, it felt longer.
But it is 89
But it is 89 minutes.
That is ominous, but I'll still probably watch it.
Yeah, check it out if you have 89 minutes to kill. Alexis, have you seen anything?
You guys are making me want to watch... Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, you guys are all making me want to watch horror movies, but I'm such a baby.
Welcome to the film.
It's that time. It's that time.
It is. Halloween decorations are about to go up in like a week.
Ugh. Yeah, my mom came by the other day and she was like, I bought some new decorations. Is this something you would be interested in? And they were like
so
little
sweet.
light up bats. And I was like, I don't. And she's like, no, you're not really interested in that, are you? And like the most derogatory thing, like you're no fun because you don't put up decorations. And I'm like, okay, boo fucking who?
Yeah,
I'll just not clean the porch for like a couple weeks and I'll get enough spider webs.
Team Dolores over here.
I have like minimal decorations, you know, like I don't know. I don't actually know what I have. I actually don't think I have any. So
Boom.
As long as you don't
tell
have
yourself.
the fake spider webs.
I've
just been like, it's just garbage, you know.
I love it.
Yeah,
It's
because
going
then
on the
it's
door.
like, how can
It's
you
going
tell
on
what
the
the
front
real
door.
spider webs are?
Yeah, exactly. We
no.
don't
I
need
have-
fake spider webs. We have real spider webs.
That is true. I do have my
Yeah,
cabinet
that's
spider.
so much better.
Yeah.
I
First
have
of
two
all,
cabinet spiders.
I have had
One
to
is Zig,
kill
the other is Zag.
fucking.
Set us
I
and
don't.
tail.
I don't like to kill spiders. Okay, you know, I want them to just live their life. But if they're a
Real.
black widow, they gotta fucking go. So I've killed
Real.
like 7 black widows in just the past like month by hand because apparently I'm the only adult in this house who is capable of killing spiders.
That's so scary.
It is scary. I have to really like psych myself up for it. I'm like, okay, here I'm gonna do it. And I get the thing and I knock it down off of its like little ledge or whatever, and then but like it takes me like at least like 90 seconds to 3 minutes to work up to getting it like out of its like web area, and then
Absolutely.
I have to like one was against the door, and I literally like sat there for like, I don't know, like 3 minutes just shaking with like this thing to squish it. And I was like, you can do it, Alexis, you can do it.
Because they just look so scary. Black widows
Yeah.
are the
They
scariest
look like the
looking
spider from
spider
Spider-Man.
I
Fast,
have
too.
ever seen.
They're really fast.
Not for me.
It's so funny.
So yeah, Zach and Mick should just get some black widows for
We-
real.
We have one outside.
Yeah, we already do. We joke that Alexis lives in a troll hole, and it's just funny to me that you live in a place that clearly has like just a bunch of black widows everywhere, and it adds to that.
It does. It
adds
adds
to
to
the
it adds to the
whole aura.
ambiance.
Yes. Yes. Well, currently I live in a quite hot climate, and our garage is kind of the perfect. Did you know that the breeding time for a black widow is actually mid-spring to mid to early summer? So
That's
I
amazing
always
trivia
thought-
as well.
I thought it was right before breakfast.
All right. Okay. This has been Spider Talk with
done.
the Film Majors. Let's hop out of what's
Spider corner.
let's hop out of what's going on. And we're back.
We are back.
We are back, and we're at our final big topic of International Cinema Month.
Crikey!
I'm, you know,
Like that hurts you.
You know what I'm happy to see go
Crikey,
is
mate.
that.
Oh shit! I better get going.
Yeah, we've been talking the cinema of Oceania, Australia, and New Zealand. And today, we are going to be discussing our favorite comedy straight man performances.
These are comedic performances by actors who are heterosexual, right?
No, that's a good question, but that is not what we are talking about. We're talking about the guys who do the hard work of being serious to ground the silliness. People who the color characters get to bounce off of.
The what characters?
Oh my God!
you hear that?
Yeah, you don't get to do that because you actually
Yeah.
fucking said colored last
Guys.
episode.
Yeah, that was bad.
You goddamn sleepy racist.
I was in the American South too long.
Okay.
I don't even think they can be canceled anymore. Like they've been canceled so many times. They're
Yeah.
practically
Hey, I
zero.
wasn't fucking involved in that.
They're embalmed at this point.
Embalmed. Oh God, that's bringing it way back, Alexis. About to end up in your tomb.
Yes, that's right.
So if you don't know this, Mick and I are going to. Alexis is going to be buried in a pyramid like a pharaoh, and Mick and I
Yes.
are going to be
Yes.
buried alive with her.
Yes,
So,
yeah,
Zoe-
because
It's all-
like
it's all
Serbians are
arranged.
always buried
Yes.
with the pharaoh, in
Yes.
a different antechamber, but still buried.
Obviously,
It's nice.
Like, you do not want them.
Yeah, we don't have as many.
burial.
Yeah, we don't have as many Black Widows in our
They've
chamber.
already been polluting my corner enough as it is.
Yeah.
It's just nice that she wants to keep us close. Zoe, I'm gonna turn to you first. Who are some of your favorite comedy straight men?
I really had to think about it because I could name a lot for TV, but I was having a hard time thinking of like full movies where there's like a guy or whatever that really holds it down. But Jason Bateman generally I feel like does it really, really well. That's like his whole shtick. And then in Game Night in particular, which is a movie that I
Totally.
have a huge soft spot for. I love that movie.
We
I
covered
think
it on the
he really
podcast.
does a great job.
Listen to our episode.
I love that movie, and he's like so good in it because he is able to have a little bit of fun but still be like, this is crazy, everyone around me is insane. Yeah, I think him. And then the dad in like any movie where there's like something like an animated something going on, like the dad in Paddington, amazing.
Yeah.
Refuses
Hugh Bonneville.
refuses to give into it.
Yeah, he's on fire in
Yeah,
those
yeah.
movies.
That's
He's
a good
fucking on
pick.
fire. That's a great pick.
Yeah.
But also similarly, not as good as Paddington, but the dad in Lyle Crocodile also does, which is, I'm not saying I love that movie.
You do love that
dad
movie.
I did give it 5 stars, but
Wow.
that's beside the point. But like, the dad in that movie does such a good job of being like, this is a crocodile. You are all insane, which I like love. Because it is insane. But yeah, I think those.
I love how the movie comments.
I have some other thoughts about this trope, but I want to hear other people's like favorites before.
All right,
say it.
Alexis, what you thinking?
Well, definitely Michael Caine in Muppets Christmas Carol.
Very good. Very good.
That's
Classic
a good
pick.
one.
Yep, good one.
But
Good
then
one.
I also thought, what's his name? Marshawn Lynch? Fuck,
Oh,
what is
yeah.
his name? The guy.
Is
Yeah,
he
yeah,
the straight
Marshawn
man in
Lynch.
that movie?
Which film?
So he's playing it mostly straight and genuine, like for most of the movie. Like he's really just saying
Bottoms.
he's really just being like as far as the world goes, a genuine character. And I think that's what's funny about it is the fact that he's supposedly being very genuine and he's so ridiculous for it, I think. Does that count?
Yeah. For me, Bottoms to me kind of feels like Wet Hot American Summer in that it's a movie where I don't know if anybody's the straight man because that world is just fucking insane.
Insane.
The world is insane, but I think of all the characters, he's the one who's probably playing it the most straight, except for
He's like so earnest.
Yes, he's earnest. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is a big part of being the straight man, right? Where it's like you have to like be taking things seriously.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. One of my favorite straight men in a comedy is if anybody's seen the movie Midnight Run, speaking of Alien, Yaphet Kotto, who plays Parker in the original Alien, he's one of the last people left alive. He plays an FBI agent called Alonzo Mosley. And Robert De Niro's character, who's like a bounty hunter, steals his ID and keeps going around pretending to be Alonzo Mosley, which I'm not sure if it ever... I don't think his picture is on the ID. I'm not sure if it ever comes up, like the confusion that Alonzo Mosley is black. But Yaphet Kotto is just so fucking sick of everybody's shit. There's a point where he shows up somewhere where De Niro has been impersonating him, and he just goes, "I'm Mosley! I'm Mosley!" And he just, like, looks like he's going to fucking explode. It is so funny, and like it is funny because he is having none of it. Again, going back to Alien, he's just impeccably good at playing a guy who does not want to be here. And I think that's a really good trait in a comedy straight man, is someone who just does not want to be present and does not enjoy any of the tomfoolery happening. Which brings me to my other pick, which is Tommy Lee Jones in Men in Black, a man who famously said he would not sanction Jim Carrey's tomfoolery or buffoonery.
I think it was buffoonery.
Yes, I will not sanction your buffoonery. But I think the whole gag of Agent K in Men in Black is that he is like the ultimate comedy straight man. He will not crack in the face of anything.
Yeah.
Be it Will Smith delivering, the movie star performance of a career, or world-ending stakes, he will not react. He is stone-faced, and it's awesome.
I like what you said about how a good trait of a straight man character in a comedy is just being really reluctant to buy into the whole movie's conceit. One that comes to mind for me would be Vince Vaughn in Dodgeball, where that's
it all comes back to Dodgeball.
That's
on
a
this
straight
podcast.
man character where that is a wacky film, and he is surrounded by wacky characters, and yet he's just he supports his fellow characters, and he tries to be a good guy, but then as things continue to get more and more bonkers, he throughout the whole movie is just like, this is dumb. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like this, and he's our leading character, and that's what's so funny is you have all of these tremendously wacky characters to bounce off our lead who doesn't think that any of this is gonna work.
Okay. I have to bring this back because Zoe mentioned adults in movies with animated characters, and we're talking about people who... I have to mention Bob Hoskins, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like, maybe the ultimate straight man comedic performance. He is so good, he should have won an Oscar for that movie.
I keep forgetting he's British.
And he's British, and he's doing an incredible, film noir, New York detective, even though he's in L.A.
I found out he got paid to not play Al Capone, which is hilarious.
Oh, yeah. We're the Untouchables. Yeah.
I think that a lot of Hugh Grant movies could probably be classified in this way, just because I feel like Hugh Grant's whole early, heartthrob shtick was just being almost too good for the movie that he's in, where he's just actively not participating in some ways, like in About a Boy. It's so funny because he very clearly doesn't want the child around.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to be a part of it, and it's
he's
not acting.
Hero.
It's he doesn't want to be a part of it.
Have any of you seen 9 Months with Hugh Grant and Julianne Moore?
No,
9
Julianne
Lives
Moore?
with Kevin Spacey and Christopher Walken.
It's a really funny movie about pregnancy that probably hasn't aged well looking back. Has Jeff Goldblum in it. And that's a perfect example, I think, Alexis, of Hugh Jackman does play a good straight man, because he's this sort of... He's a husband, and now his wife is pregnant, and he doesn't really want kids, but she does, and he loves her, so he's going to go along for it, and the next 9 months are him, psyching himself out or trying to get himself into this, and he hates the whole parenthood thing, and at one point there's a scene where him and, his future brother-in-law get in a very violent physical altercation with a rip-off Barney mascot at a toy store, and watching Hugh Grant trying to play this straight and get punched in the face by a Barney character and try not to let himself get too angry. It's a good example. Hugh Grant's pretty good at that, of putting himself in some wacky situations.
Wait, Zoe, have you seen the movie This Is Where I Leave You?
No.
Okay, because it has Jason Bateman in it, and I feel like that's another one where it's like, oh, that's a good straight guy performance. He plays a son, and his mom is Jane Fonda. She, like, in this movie, she, like, famously wrote, like, a parenting book. And so, but, like, it's, like, kind of like a tell-all about all of her children and, like, their psyches and shit. So, and their dad dies at the beginning.
I've seen this.
It's so fun. I wouldn't say it's a great movie. It's kind of mid, but it's very, very fun. And Adam Driver's in it, and we all know how much I love Adam Driver.
Hardly know her.
But yeah, all the characters are kind of wacky and zany in a way, and then Jason Bateman's just kind of like in the middle, like, I can't believe this is my family. Why am I here?
Classic him. Like in Arrested Development too, like the entire time Jason Bateman is like, this is the most insane thing that's ever happened. Why is no one acknowledging this?
Yes.
Like,
There's one more that I'd like to shout out, just because by virtue of him being perhaps one of America or the world's favorite comedians, Robin Williams. He at one point played the straight man, even though he was a gay man.
Oh, yeah, The Birdcage.
In The Birdcage, a movie that we've covered, where he's always the guy that's jumping off the walls and doing improv like crazy, and just everything is a shtick. And yet, in this comedy, The Birdcage, he is the straight man, where you have all these characters around him bouncing off of him, and he does it really well.
Yeah, he only really gets to, like, bounce off the walls, but fussy, 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 Madonna, Madonna.
That's
the only
few
time.
moments, or the
Martha
blooper
Graham,
that Mike Nichols left.
Oh yeah, where he falls down
in the kitchen. One of my favorite all-time fucking shots. But yeah, I have to shout that out.
So Zoe, you had something to bring up about this trope.
yeah, I was thinking about it, and I realized what I really don't like is when like the wife or the girl ends up being the straight man for like a group of men that are just like behaving really poorly. And this happens a lot in Judd Apatow movies, where like in particular Leslie Mann is like this
The
wife
stick
that's
in the
like,
mud.
like, and I hate that a lot. And I think of like a really like good example is Christina Applegate in Anchorman, who like comes in and she like, I think they actually do it pretty well, where she is like, I'm a serious journalist, you guys are all fucking assholes. Am I allowed to swear?
All the time.
I did, so.
I think you
Perfect.
have to.
I think you've been swearing.
I think you legally have to.
No one has ever asked us that. That's great. I feel like I'm on the BBC.
Wow,
that's great.
Well, sometimes I sometimes swear a lot, so I'm like, oh god, what if it gets really bad? But
that's okay.
anyway, so
all of these episodes are labeled explicit.
I love that. But in Anchorman, you know, it's like that it works for her to, because she like is elevated and clearly they acknowledge that they're all idiots. But in other cases, I'm like, why are you making the wife like the person that's ruining the fun the whole time? I just like had to mention it because there were so many examples where I was like, that sucks. Let the wife have fun.
I mean,
like, let her be a character.
The wife can be a goon too.
That's like, I feel like that's why It's Always Sunny has worked so well, is because
Big Bird.
Yeah, Caitlin Olsen literally, when they conceptualized that show, Dee was supposed to be kind of the voice of reason, and she was like, I don't like that. I would like to also be one of the worst people in the world. And 16 seasons later, great call.
Wait, so what's an example of a straight man who's a female character, a straight woman that's not like that example? Like what's an example of a movie?
It's really a lot of these like early 2000 rom-coms, which is like my bread and butter. I watch so many of them. But if you've seen I Love You Man with Jason Segel and Paul Rudd, I think it is, the fiance, it's Rashida Jones, and the whole time they're going like crazy and they're like having this like friendship and going off the walls and kind of whatever, being silly men, and she kind of consistently is like very straight and very is like we have to get married, you know, like, this guy is crazy, you guys are being insane, but doesn't add much other than that, just, like, taking everything seriously.
Yeah.
But like, is there an example of a straight woman who's not, like, just killing the fun, like, is a part of the troupe? Like,
I'm sure, but maybe? I don't...
Yeah, I haven't seen Bridesmaids.
Would Kristen Wiig be the... I haven't seen it either, but would Kristen Wiig be the straight man in that movie? No?
No,
it would be Rose... I don't know her last name. The
Byrne?
British one.
Rose Byrne, is that? Yeah.
But they're all crazy in that. I was also thinking in We're the Millers, Jennifer Aniston is kind of the straight man sometimes, but she still is part of their hijinks.
What about Sandra Bullock in The Lost City?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think so.
Zach, what the fuck are you doing with your life? How many times me and Mick have
watching
said how
Alien
much we
Resurrection,
enjoyed this movie?
like you told me to.
Okay, well, I've told you about The Lost City many more times, okay?
That's not true. Alien Resurrection has definitely come up more on this podcast.
I'll say Jada Pinkett
Not
Smith.
true. I swear to God, I brought up The Lost City on like
Every
so many
other
of our big
episode,
topics.
it's I cried when the little alien hybrid got sucked out of the airlock.
Zach, you should watch The Lost City.
You should watch The Lost City.
Everybody stop coming for me.
I think Jada
Brad Pitt
Pinkett
in that
Smith
movie is so good.
I think Jada Pinkett Smith in Girls Trip is a good example of a straight man.
Yes.
Yeah.
But not the lame character. She's a part of the hijinks, but just like you just need that part of the equation. That's a wild fucking movie.
Yes.
And again, it was so weird that I was gifted that.
That's kind of what I was noticing is, like, obviously there are, like, women that play the straight man in, like, ensemble things, but it's, like, this trope of, like, let's make the wife in particular the straight man, which I'm like, stop doing that.
I think it's just that, like, it comes from, like, I think that what you're, like, the essence of what you're talking about, it just comes from such a long line of, like, the wife always being the person who kills the fun for men, and it makes this perception that, like, women are not fun, but it's only in regards to men being out of control, and it basically it's almost like saying that, like, men can't have the most fun that they can have because women are always telling them to stop doing it.
That's a really good Judd Apatow impression. That was good.
I was going to say,
like,
and in particular, Judd Apatow thinks that.
Okay, so.
Which I like, that's crazy because I feel like Leslie Mann has to be, like, one of the most fun wives to have, probably.
Exactly. She's, like, she's so fun and funny. I'm like, just write a good character for her. I'm begging him.
He didn't write The Other Woman, did he?
I don't think so.
Because
Maybe.
that is one of my favorite Leslie Mann performances ever. She's so good. Like, when she just, like, comes into fucking Cameron Diaz's office and is just, like, crying on the floor. It's just so funny.
So good. I like her a lot. Yeah, I'm just like, respect your wife, man.
So, Simon Pegg and Hot Fuzz. That's a good one.
Good one.
I was just thinking of Olivia Colman. I was like, she's absolutely not the straight man in that movie.
I was going to bring up
somebody here has work after this and would like to discuss why we're talking about comedy straight men.
Okay,
but Bill Nighy and which.
Are you hijacking the conversation?
I have to. We have to keep
Shaun
it moving.
of the Dead. Bill Nighy and Shaun of the Dead, and in Love Actually, I think.
Shaun of the Dead, another example of a movie where a wife or girlfriend kills the fun. Okay, so why are we talking about comedy straight men? Because I think there is a
this
great
feels
one.
Forced. This whole thing feels forced.
We have to keep it fucking moving. I have work. There is a great comedy straight man in Taika Waititi's Hunt for the Wilderpeople 2016 film. Here's the description. A boy, Julian Dennison, and his foster father, Sam Neill, become the subjects of a manhunt after they get stranded in the New Zealand wilderness. Alrighty.
Is that it?
That is all they said.
Clearly didn't see the movie. It's a foster uncle.
I mean,
Google.
He does call him Unc.
Oh
no,
my god.
technically he's a foster father. He just calls him uncle. I think it's a culture thing. Auntie and uncle is like in Maori culture. You would call your. It's kind of like in Korea, you know. You would say like aunt or uncle, you know.
So then, what do you call your uncle? Do you call him Dada?
Uncle.
I think it's like any
How many uncles can you have?
older person that's in your life. You can have as many aunties as possible. And uncles I'm less familiar with, but I'm sure it's the same. But
There's that one guy who's always saying like cuzzy, who said cuzzy all the time. So I think that's like a really like what is it, like informal way of like talking to somebody. But normally, like as a form of respect kind of thing, I think it's like auntie or uncle.
Mick, I am not going to let you get away with quoting Too Fast, Too Furious there. Go to jail. So
What
this
did he
was...
say?
He said ejecto seat. Cuz.
You were talking about cuz. Forget about it, cuz.
So...
he got away with it, Zach.
He can't get away with it! So, Zoe, this was picked... largely because of a conversation I had with you where you were like, I love Hunt for the Wilderpeople. And I was like, oh, I really like that movie when I saw it. What's your relationship to Hunt for the Wilderpeople?
I actually saw this movie when it came out in theaters. It had a pretty limited theatrical release, but I just like happened to catch it at like one of the little theaters in Eugene. And I had no idea what it was about. I think Joey, my husband's mom, was like, oh, it's really good, like you'll love it, just go see it. And I saw it and like sobbed, like sobbed at the beginning, sobbed at the end, was like, this is really profound to me. Had no idea who Taika Waititi was, had no context for it, and then just like lived in that, forgot about it, and then started. I think I've rewatched it like 3 or 4 times now because I love movies where there's like a journey and people are running away from the cops. I will watch anything where it's like an adventure and people are running away from the cops. I'm super into that.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, and then since then, I've just rewatched it I like several times. I do still cry every single time I watch it as well. Can't help it.
Including this watch?
Yeah. Like intensely crying at the end.
Wow.
I was sobbing. I couldn't control myself. And I know what happens, but it doesn't matter.
Now, Mick, your relationship to this movie.
So believe it or not, I did not grow up with this film. I love Sam Neill's performance. He does a really good Russian accent. Sean Connery's great. And I know it's a boat movie.
Sorry, buddy. Hunt for Red October. You're thinking Hunt for Red October. This is Hunt for the Wilderpeople.
Oh, my bad. Okay. I did not watch I watched Hunt for Red October.
Oh, what do you think about that one?
It was good.
Yeah, great movie. Also has Sam Neill in it.
Hunt for the Wilderpeople. This is my second watch. I saw it, I think, probably around when it came out. I remember really enjoying it. It's a cute film. I remember thinking that Taika Waititi, he's going to go places.
Yeah, hell.
And then they gave him a bunch of Marvel properties. And to be fair, Ragnarok was decent, right? It's actually probably one of the more fun Marvel films, so they did good there. But Hunt for the Wilderpeople, love Sam Neill. I remember being kind of taken aback by the inciting incident in this film, which is very tragic.
Yeah.
It's so funny, though. The bit that always sticks with me the most is at the very beginning where he runs away, where Ricky Baker runs away. And first time I saw it, I was like, oh my God, like he's gone. Look at it. He's completely gone in that montage. And then he wakes up and the house is literally like down the hill.
Yeah.
Super cute.
It's so good.
This is good, wholesome humor that works for me. And I think the reason that it works for me is because everyone has a Kiwi accent. So it's a little bit easier to go down.
It's a big part of it, actually,
I love a manhunt.
Sure.
I agree with you. It's really great. And I'm fucking, I did not remember the end having like fucking $1 million to burn and being like, I need 3 helicopters. I need a armored personnel carrier. I'm going to need this whole convoy of vehicles. It's epic.
Yeah.
It's an epic ending.
I was looking, and this this movie had a $2.5 million budget, and it is like $1 million of that went into that.
Yeah, most of that is the last 10 minutes.
It's crazy.
I guess I didn't think about this as like, yeah, this is kind of a.
It's basically The Fugitive.
It's I mean, way to fucking speak my language, buddy. But it makes sense to me that this is the movie that he made right before making a big like studio action movie. Because this would be kind of a proof that you can handle action and spectacle.
Here's the funny thing, though.
Did he shoot it after?
No, but
it wouldn't have been out.
It hadn't exactly. So they hired Taika Waititi to do Thor before this was released, and so apparently the story goes that Kevin Feige was like, "All right, we're really excited to work with you. By the way, like, is there anything else that you have cooking right now? Is it for your own career?" And Taika went, "Oh yeah, I have this little movie that's like about to come out." Apparently, he didn't mention it at all to the suits, and when it just dropped, Marvel watched it and went, "Oh my god, holy shit! This is the guy we hired. Well, we got lucky." They hadn't even seen the movie yet, and they had already hired him. So
they must have hired him off of What We Do in the Shadows.
That or The Whale and the Shark, and they were like, "This man, this man."
I have never seen that. I feel
it's bad.
I've heard a lot of Whale and the Shark hate on this podcast.
No, not Whale and the Shark. Eagle and the Shark.
Sorry.
Eagle and the Shark. Sorry.
The Whale and the Shark is like,
I just want to know I did one thing right, Shark.
Didn't you have a movie called Boy out before this?
Yes, Boy was also out before this. Now, Alexis, was this a first-time watch for you?
This was a first-time watch for me.
Oh, wow.
It's
delightful.
Yeah.
Good call. Good call.
I
assume you liked it.
I did. I loved it like so much. But I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that I love stories that are centered around like a child's point of view. I think it's to me, I feel like sometimes you guys just like love things that are like very, I don't even know. Like you guys like you two boys, for some reason, you guys love adults. I love like kids. I love hearing things from like their perspective.
Isolate that audio.
And I think just because like there is this earnestness and like naivety and like pureness in their intentions, and they're just like they're experiencing life for the first time, and so things that, you know, as adults we think are like not that big of a deal are really big deals to them. And I respect that a lot, you know, because I know that growing up I had a really hard time. So anytime I see fucking kids struggling on the screen, I'm just like, bruh, I was right there in the trenches with you, you know?
Yeah,
I agree.
I never saw Thor Ragnarok or Love and Thunder or anything like that. So the only thing that I'd really ever seen of Taika Waititi was Jojo Rabbit in 2019.
Good movie.
And then I'm like trying to think here, what else? Have I seen anything? Oh, okay, I saw him in Free Guy, but I mean, he didn't write that. But I love Jojo Rabbit like so much. Like I've seen it like I think 2 or 3 times now. And
you haven't seen What They Do in the Shadows?
I've seen like a couple episodes. I've seen a bunch of clips on TikTok. Like
No,
I know
the
it's
movie.
funny.
There's,
I just
yeah, there's a movie.
Oh,
You'd like it.
the
You would
one
really
with
like it.
Johnny Depp.
No, that's Dark Shadows, directed by Tim
Dark
Burton.
Shadows. Okay,
What,
yeah, no,
what
I
We Do in
definitely
the
not
Shadows.
seen.
Jermaine
Yeah.
Clement,
Taika Waititi's in it. I think you would really like that movie. I might pop that on a
Definitely.
Spooktober list.
It's
sometime.
exactly like the show, but just in movie form. It's a mockumentary.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I feel like oftentimes my issue with movies that are like about kids and centering kids is, you know, through no fault of their own, they are children.
Are you gonna say they're annoying?
Yeah, and like, you know, maybe not the greatest actors. I think it takes it takes a special director to get a good performance out of kids. Like there's a reason why that's like one of the things that Spielberg gets praised for,
right?
Because that's not an easy feat.
Just ask George Lucas.
Yeah, Another director who I low-key think is like really kind of great at directing children is M. Night Shyamalan. I think he gets the cadence of children really right. I think his dialogue that sometimes feels weird coming from adults actually feels totally natural coming from a kid, because like the world doesn't make sense to them.
That the directors who are good with working with children, to me, like, seem to have usually like some sort of like essence to themselves that like they've retained their like childlikeness wonder of things. And I think I agree. And I think personally, like, you always want to respect your actors, right? And I think that is the same for the child actors. And, you know, not every director works the same. You know, we've heard lots of stories about directors who, you know, are hard to work with, that don't really treat their actors with the respect that they need. And I think that it's like even more important when you're working with kids, because they are like really fragile, and like they don't really have, like, some of them don't really have like a real sense of self yet. So I always think that it's like really impressive. Like, I really love the kids in Jojo Rabbit. Like, they're so good. And obviously I really like this movie, so I'm like, Taika Waititi is just like one of those people for me now where I'm just like, oh, he obviously like respects kids and like where they're coming from.
I would wager a big part of that is being a father or just being a parent. Because a lot of the directors we have mentioned that are good, that are notoriously good getting performances out of kids, are parents themselves.
Yeah, even on The Sixth Sense, M. Night was like a new dad.
Yeah.
Sure, but I don't think that we can make a blanket statement that being a father, it makes you good with children.
No, but that's not what we said at all.
That's not what we said at all, is it? That's not what we said. We said the defining factor is that these people are parents.
Yeah, we're not saying all dads are good.
Automatically, you can get a performance out of it.
That's what I'm saying, though, is that the defining factor isn't that they're a parent. It's that they're a type of parent who has retained their childlike wonder. There's a lot of parents that shut down how their children feel because they really have lost touch with what it was like to be a kid. And that's what I'm saying, is that people like Taika and fucking Steven Spielberg, you can tell the way that fucking Steven Spielberg, you know, talks in interviews that he's an innocent little lad inside still in many ways, you know? And I think that works when you're working with children.
Well,
I think you're right that it's like the sense of wonder is like the most important, because I think these directors remember that like a lot of these kids are on a movie set for the like first time, or still, even if it's not their first time, that's a crazy thing to do as a child, and they treat it as something special, and that's like and fun, which makes it fun for the kids. You can tell when a set is not fun for a kid, I feel like, because the performance is weird and bad.
And I think fuck, what was I gonna say? The other thing is that it's a different type of skill set, because kids don't have the depth of like experience and emotion that like adults have, or even like teenagers have, to like draw on. So sometimes you kind of have to come at it a different way to get the emotion for, like, you know, like something like Signs, or like something that's like a movie that's like kind of traumatic, you know. It's like, well, we can't just scare the shit out of the kid, you know, we got to get them to this place without fucking traumatizing them, you know. So definitely a different skill set.
Yeah, all of this is to say, I think that Julian Dennison is very good in this movie. And I think that a big part of why he's so good is circling back to our big topic. That he has a world-class actor as a straight man to ground his performance. And I really liked... I watched an interview, a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff on this movie, and Julian Dennison says that Sam Neill... gave him a piece of advice that is acting is just playing pretend but taking it seriously, which I think is a really sweet and like direct way to explain something to a kid.
I can totally hear him saying that.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised that, like, you know, if your first like film performance, Julian Dennison had worked on a commercial with Taika Waititi before this, But like, if your first feature film experience is acting opposite Sam Neill in like a pretty protected environment, you're probably gonna be pretty fucking good. Like, I don't want to defer credit from Julian Dennison, who weirdly circling back to Deadpool.
I know, we can't escape it.
He's in Deadpool too.
Pretty good in that movie, I thought. But
I think you're right, Zach, that it's like the environment was good, like he's like working with someone really good, but I think that he's also just like naturally very funny.
Yes.
Like, I think there is just some like raw natural talent that's like really working for him. He has the knack.
He has the knack. That's very good.
I still think the funniest scene in this movie is when Ricky and Hector go into like that first sort of like
the hunting lodge
after Sam Neill breaks his ankle and they're out in the woods for a while. And they realize that they're wanted, and these hunters show up, and Sam Neill's like, yeah, we got stranded in the bush, it was fine, it was like a holiday. And then Ricky goes, there's not a real holiday, and you made me do stuff. And then he proceeds to explain their time in the woods in a vague way that sounds just so much like he was getting molested, and you just watch everyone's faces fall, and then after they escape, Sam Neill's like, do you realize what that sounded like? And Julian Dennison goes, no, what? Oh, no.
Yeah, he's so good at the deadpan delivery. Like, he's got that gift. He's very, very good.
I don't know, the part where he's reading the poster and he says Faulkner is Caucasian. Well, they got that wrong because you're obviously white. That's just so funny. I don't know, like, that's such a fucking like little kid ass shit to say. Like, what the fuck is Caucasian? You're a fucking white dude, you know?
Yeah, you're a white guy.
Oh,
no,
man.
he's so good.
That kid's so fucking funny. I love this movie so much. I'm 100% rewatching this movie.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I really love it. It's also like, it's funny, and obviously you can tell that it's Taika Waititi, who is naturally has that kind of goofiness. It is so sad that like first the inciting incident is like Up, or what's it called, that Pixar movie, whatever, Up, yeah, like that level of sad. Of like, it like builds you up to just like tear you down. It is so sad.
It pulls a Pixar for sure.
It reminds me kind of Mandy, the structure of this movie. In that it spends, I know it's a weird comparison, but stick with me.
No, it makes sense. It's like we got like, it reminds me of Pixar, and you're like, reminds you of Mandy.
Yeah,
both of them are apt. Both of them are true.
I think the thing that it reminds me of,
two different brains right there.
Yeah, the way it reminds me of Mandy is just kind of like structurally it spends like a good chunk of time at the beginning of the movie really investing you in this relationship. And like,
it does the work.
It does the work, and you really, really like Bella. Like, Bella is
Ricky Baker,
so fucking charming.
Perfect. Once rejected, now accepted.
That is so funny too. Speaking of straight men, when you just keep getting reaction shots of Sam Neill during that birthday song, he's like,
especially when Ricky starts
here.
like joining in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also another just like writing thing that I think Waititi does well to sort of capture the like voice of a child is the haiku bit, because it is like so like you kind of cringe at it because it's so earnest and like oftentimes bad, but like that is like that rings very true to me as like a thing that a kid would like latch onto and get accepted. I know that when I learned what a haiku was, I was like, sick, I'm gonna do this for a minute. It feels very true to me.
I do love that none of the haikus are good.
Yes.
Like objectively, they say all of them, and it's like, oh, that's a bad haiku, but it works so well as a tool for them expressing their feelings that I'm like, I love it.
I personally love bad haikus. I think I wrote one about smelly airplane passengers one time. Like the first time I went on like an airplane, I wrote a haiku about it. And it wasn't great, but it's one of my favorite for sure.
You are Ricky Baker. That is so funny. You have to read that on the show.
Here's the thing, is that I watched this movie and I just had a lot of empathy for him because I was annoying as a child. And a lot of people found me annoying. But instead of Ricky Baker like leaning into it, I just got more quiet, around some people. And then only other people that I was like really close to, I would be like my kooky zany self. But I really liked him because of how earnest he was. And I don't know. I was like, oh, little boy.
We all take different paths.
Can you imagine an alternate timeline where Alexis did lean into it? Wow.
Yeah, you're looking at it, buddy.
That would have been something. That's sweet, though. You know what? Here's something I've said before on the show that I'm not the biggest fan. If I had to choose between like types of comedies, I'm probably going to go towards more like just like, sight gags or maybe sometimes mean comedy as opposed to like the wholesome stuff. I will say, though, partly what really works for me in this film is going to my childhood. I grew up reading Bill Watterson's Calvin and Hobbes, which is about these two characters that's going through the woods, having a very vivid imagination, and just going on these wacky, zany adventures. And this movie, and this is probably the highest compliment I can give it, has real Calvin and Hobbes energy. It's like you have the tall character and the short character. They're going in the woods. They're getting into all these hijinks. They're on the run, and yet it's just so wholesome and feel good. Yet it has very real emotions there. I really like it for that. And Alexis, we talk about having it from like the perspective of the young character, I think is absolutely vital to the success of this story, because if this wasn't from the child's perspective, this is like a really tragic story.
Oh yeah.
This is a bummer. But because it's from Ricky Baker's perspective, it's like a holiday. But I had to play with myself. So it's like it's way more accessible and it's way more of a feel good fun time. I love that. It's good. Make a Calvin and Hobbes movie.
I also think that it's like peak Calvin and Hobbes when they're like in that like shootout at the end almost, and he's still having fun and like imagining that this is like super intense, crazy adventure that they're on, and then you get the perspective finally of like the adults being like, this is really serious. We need to walk away now. Like this needs to actually be over.
I love at the end where he was just like, I don't know, I'm sorry, Uncle. I just got really carried away with being an outlaw. I was like, real
fucking
shit.
Makes sense.
Real shit.
Makes sense. Get it.
Oh yeah, he's like, I didn't choose the Skuck's life. The Skuck's life chose me.
Yeah.
So I just want to like take a step back and look at Australian and Oceania Cinema Month from a wider view, because I think Sam Neill now may be our most covered actor.
Yeah, I think
it's either him
that would check out
or Nicole Kidman. I think it's both of them, and Dead Calm is the one that puts both of them over the edge, because Nicole Kidman was in The Hours, Moulin Rouge, and Dead Calm, and Sam Neill, we did Possession, Dead Calm, and this, and like, maybe just like two of our all-time best actors.
Yeah, I think
like not even from Down Under. Sam Neill in particular.
We should start making a list.
What a fucking legend, and
But
he
Nicole
might
Kidman's
be
also
coming
in Australia.
That's right. So 4.
Yeah, she might have the edge, but guess what? That might change very soon.
Yeah, Halloween season.
Low-key might be another Sam Neill one in the chamber.
We should make a list of our most incited actors.
Most covered actors. Yeah, we've got the directors list. We should do that. Alexis, how'd you feel about the dog in this movie?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the dog.
Here's the thing, guys. When Bella died, so the foster mother at the beginning, I had this moment of when he's saying her name, I had forgotten her name was Bella, so for a second I thought the dog died, and I had a panic, and I got really angry, and then because I had a panic and gotten angry, I wasn't sad about Bella, because I was like, oh, thank God, it was just the woman. It was just the woman that died. Okay.
Hot take.
Isolate that audio.
Hot take.
And then they get into the forest, and that wild boar showed up, and as soon as the wild boar showed up, I was like, well, it's fucking over for one of the dogs, isn't it? That's just what always happens when there's an animal.
That's why there are 2
tusk.
of them.
Goodbye,
My
Zach.
mom showed up halfway through me watching this movie and sat on the couch with me to watch it, and I shit you not, when that dog fucking is tusked by the boar, I just started sobbing. It's really sad. And it was beyond, I wasn't even, I was angry at you guys, but I was so heartbroken and so sad that all I could do was just hug my dog. And my mom was like, are you okay? And I was like, I'm not okay.
The problem for me, this show has kind of broken my brain, because now when we watch a movie where a dog dies, it's met with immediate laughter. Yes! I just laugh. Because it's a going bit. It's a going bit.
Okay, so here's the thing.
This is what I deal with all the time. They're like, we hate children, we hate animals.
Don't, Alexis, do not blame us. This was a Zoe idea.
That's true.
The movie was really good, okay? Nobody else was going to choose a fucking movie with a kid POV, okay? It was always going to be one of the females on the podcast.
That's so funny. You get a kid POV, but a dog will die. There's always a trade-off.
The monkey's paw curdles. Yeah, so the great thing about Australian Cinema Month is twice on accident I have picked movies where a dog dies.
This is 4 for 5,
4 for 5.
We're
it is
4 for 5.
Yeah, 80% of the movies we've covered this month.
I didn't realize how often this actually happens. I don't know if just I've seen so many wholesome... I don't know if I've just seen so many wholesome movies that I've seen less dog deaths, but since doing this podcast with you guys, I've had to watch so many dogs die on screen. It is atrocious.
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
For International Cinema Month, we're going to do Dead Dog Month here. We've got a lot of dead dogs.
There's a whole fucking website dedicated to this, and I thought originally, oh, that's silly. Why would they do that? There can't be that many dogs dying in movies. But there is, and you guys know all of them.
I'm amazed you don't use that website as a resource more.
I'm happy you don't, quite frankly.
It makes it easier for us.
My friend Allison, I don't know if she still listens to the podcast or not, but she was the one who told me about that website years ago. She uses it for everything, whether or not she's going to watch a movie. She'll check to see if an animal dies. Yeah.
It is sad. But it also, raises not to justify the dog death, but in that moment, it does, raise the emotional stakes to a point where it's oh, this isn't a fun romp in the woods anymore. Romp in the bush, sorry. This is now, there are real stakes for, that little group.
I'm really glad.
But it is, tragic.
It is. I'm really glad that I'm not a character in a movie, because it would either turn into an unwatchable movie, because I would be catatonic after my dog died, or it would turn into Mandy.
Yeah, it would become John Wick. It would be awesome.
And I would become John Wick.
Fucking great movie.
There's no middle ground when it comes to animals for me. I am either so sad or I am so angry.
Yeah, I have to. I'm gonna change it up here a little bit because I want to talk about the Terminator, Rachel House, who plays Paula.
Oh my god, I love her.
She's great. She's like she basically plays the child catcher character in this, like quite literally.
Yeah, like from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
No child left behind. That's not the actual slogan. That's my slogan. No child left behind. She gives a good deadpan performance. She is hilarious.
So
I love the clip where she's on a talk show panel and she completely weirds out the host by just being herself. Very, very funny.
Yeah. He's kicking stuff. He just goes off. Yeah,
burning stuff.
He's a dangerous individual.
Yeah, it's so funny. I also love how at the very end she is in an armored personnel carrier with like a tank helmet on.
Oh my god,
yeah, that's insane.
It's so funny.
Her saying like, "Give me your gun." She's like waist out of the tank. Give me your gun. Someone give me your gun. She is so good.
I also love her sidekick Andy. He's great too.
Oh yeah.
Just lovable.
He's in
Andy.
Taika Waititi's. I think he's in Next Goal Wins.
Yes, he plays the coach in that movie.
Yeah.
Or the manager, the coach, I think.
So
I'm not sure.
He must be kind of like a buddy of Taika Waititi.
Yeah, there's a few of those guys in here. The Bushman as well.
Yes. I love Rhys Darby. As a big Flight of the Conchords fan.
He's so good.
I have always adored Rhys Darby. He plays the manager in Flight of the Conchords. He's also in What We Do in the Shadows, where he plays a werewolf. Where he goes,
werewolves, not swearwolves.
Yeah, we're werewolves. We're not swearwolves. He's so funny as Psycho
Death?
Sam.
Have you guys seen that?
Yes, he's in Our Flag Means Death. He's the main character.
Yeah, I really like that show. I didn't finish the last episode or two, but loved it so much. He's so fucking great.
Yeah.
I've only seen season 1 and amazing. He's amazing. Also Taika Waititi and him, their chemistry is just amazing.
They really do.
They're like such friends.
Remember how I told you I was watching that TV show called Heartbreak High? It's like an Australian TV show.
That's one of my favorite shows. I love that show.
Yes. Okay, Rachel House is also in that show, and she plays the principal. And so when she showed up in this movie, I was like, yes, Rachel House.
I was going to bring that up because she's almost the straight man, actually, in Heartbreak High, where, but obviously it's teenagers, so they're just, insane in a different way, but, she just wants her school to, be a good place to be so badly. And these kids, refuse to make it, a welcoming environment for anyone. Yeah. She's so good in that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you've seen it. I love that show. It's, perfect to me.
Taika, he has a very, specific brand of humor. And sometimes in, the dialogue, I can absolutely hear his voice. But in this movie, it works just so well because of he cast it so well. And I think my favorite example of that is where you have that ravine in between Ricky Baker and Paula, where she announces that I'm basically like the Terminator, and you're like Sarah Connor, except Sarah Connor from Terminator 1 before she could do chin-ups. That, I laugh so hard
funny.
at that bit every time. And when I say every time, I mean all two times I've seen this. There are specific jokes that are very good.
Too. That sound.
Yeah.
That was all over TikTok a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was so funny. I watched the movie and then I had to open TikTok and I was like, oh shit, this audio is trending right now.
Yeah. Because that's a perfect joke. It's so funny.
I want to talk really quickly. You know what I think is such a good costuming decision?
What do you think is such a good costuming decision?
Thank you for asking,
Of course.
The zip hoodies.
Yes.
The hoodies, Ricky Baker's hoodies that zip all the way up past his face.
Yeah.
For a kid who's trying to, not let people in at the beginning, a really smart, easy visual choice to communicate that.
Yeah.
And is also just, very funny. He looks hysterical with that zipped all the way up.
I owned a hoodie like that in middle school.
Of course you did.
With, similar, patterns on it. So it's so funny, see, it also had, the little thumb holes. You could poke your little thumbs through.
Oh, sick.
I had, it was great, dude. It was
Naturally.
cool as fuck. It was gangster. My friend Tupac, he's basically my best friend. Yeah, that was good. I love the plaid, the blue and the red plaid. Like that's good costuming choices there. You can see them really well when they're in the bush, and all around good choices made.
I will say this is a movie that, like, composition wise, it's very clearly like kind of trying to do like a Wes Anderson type thing where everything's very symmetrical, and I don't think that. Yeah, I watched something with
I would disagree with.
I watched something with the DP talking about how he's trying to do a lot of very symmetrical compositions.
Well, then he failed.
I do not think they nailed it.
Yeah, I don't either.
I do not find this to be very symmetrical.
It looks good, but not interesting.
And I think that some of that is just by virtue of it shooting in like 25 days. Like, you know, you have to be kind of loose with it. And I think that there's kind of a disconnect between some of like those very symmetrical compositions and like I think if you're trying to do that kind of thing, you sort of have to carry it all the way through a little bit for it to feel consistent. I don't know.
I guess I see what you mean with like the above the cake shot with the Ricky Baker happy birthday song and like the interiors, but then they like move away from any interiors for so long, and obviously like the bush is not going to be symmetric, so that just feels like kind of a weird aesthetic choice to make if they're going to be in such a natural environment.
Yeah, and maybe that's it, because I feel like they kind of go back to it at the end when him and Hector have their final conversation, so maybe that's consistent.
This does have Moonrise Kingdom energy in a way. I guess just because that's kids, but...
Yeah. I wonder, like, how much of it is, like, trying to, like, take a leaf out of Wes Anderson's book, because I think if you had to make the argument for it, that Jojo Rabbit is the most kind of Wes Anderson-esque of Taika Waititi stuff. So maybe, I guess this is like the inception of attempting that, maybe. But I don't really see it exactly the same way. I don't know. There's such a level of artifice to Wes Anderson movies just because they're so specific.
Yeah, I don't think it's one-to-one, but I think there is a little bit of a carryover there.
I like how they show, I think it's very clever how they show montage in this, where they just they just pan the camera on a swivel and just, it's almost like a complete 360 in the woods, but then you always get more parts of the scene through the passage of time without the actual breaking of the background. So you pan from Ricky Baker here, and then you pan to Ricky Baker there, and then you pan to Ricky Baker later. Very clever. Because also, we all went to Humboldt. We've all shot things in the woods. Shooting things.
Zoe's been to Humboldt.
Yeah. Shooting things in the forest.
I'm going this weekend. I'm going to Humboldt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I love Humboldt. But yeah, shooting things in the woods is hard. Like, it's just hard to compose. To me, it's hard to compose a shot. It's just, you think it's cinematic, and then you get the camera out there, and it's just tree trunks. How do I frame it? The trees are so tall. I guess I just do the bottom bits. And then, I don't know. I've always found it challenging personally to shoot in the woods. But I'm always amazed when movies seem to do it sort of effortlessly. And this is one of them. I think they do it really, really well. Everything makes sense. You never really lose track of where you are in any specific area. I also think it's cut well. In fact, there are moments that give me Edgar Wright energy in this film, with where it does very quick shots of processes, like just like getting into a car, close a door, close the door, close the door, turn on the vehicle, and it drives away. And those are all like 5 different shots. I love how that was something that got me interested into filmmaking a lot, was watching how Edgar Wright will just cut something together, even if it's as simple as flushing a toilet. I enjoy how you get similar aspects of that here, trying to play around with editing and just make menial tasks seem more cinematic just by virtue of how quickly you cut them. So, well done.
One of my favorite scenes has to be when he meets that girl on the horse, right? And she's like, right? But then he gets to her house and she's like, you want sausage? She just keeps asking him if you want sausage, but then her dad comes out of his room, and I don't know, I really, really liked that guy. I was like, this is the friend's dad that you want to hang out with. He's just like, hey, can I get a selfie? And then, like he's just like, he's like, look, I got captured by Ricky Baker.
Yeah, when they're talking, the two kids are talking, and then it like pans over and reveals that he's like been there on the other
he's been there the whole time. He's like singing along.
I lost it.
Yes, Troy Kingi is the actor's name, and he was also in Muru this month that we discussed a couple episodes ago.
Nice.
Yeah,
this reminds me a lot of Muru, actually.
Kind of. Yeah,
this is basically like Muru.
I think he's like a big person in like kind of the Maori culture. I don't know. I saw some videos of him and stuff. He's a good singer. I saw a video of him with like an original song that he had written, and I was like, oh, all right, what's up?
No way.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite sight gags in a comedy is when you think a conversation is private, but then the camera pans over to just
another guy,
just a third character in the room. That happens a lot in some shows and movies, and I always love to see it, and it's done very well here.
Yeah.
It's a great bit.
Well, do we have any final thoughts here on Hunt for the Wilderpeople? Zoe, I'm going to throw it to you as the number one Hunt for the Wilderpeople fan.
Yeah, I think Taika Waititi should get his budget slashed so he maybe makes another good movie. I think he has too much money thrown at him, and I think it's made him, like, even Next Duel Wins, I felt like wasn't as, like, honest and down to earth as this movie, and I kind of am like, make him work a little harder, make him go in the bush in the winter for 5 weeks again, and maybe he'll make something really good, because I think this is, like, incredible, and I want to see him do more stuff like this. Yeah,
I want to throw to a Sam Neill quote on this subject, which during the making of featurette, he was like, I don't want to blow smoke up his bum because he might turn into a total prick, but he's sort of really gifted. And I'm like, we gotta take that Oscar away.
Look what happened.
I just gotta say, one of the most insufferable things I've ever seen was the breakdown of a scene Taika Waititi and Tessa Thompson did for Thor: Love and Thunder, where they shit all over the VFX team, and it's like, hey, maybe you should have had your fucking eye on the goddamn ball, Taika,
instead of shagging one another.
Instead of fucking shitting on the goddamn overworked, like, Marvel sweatshop VFX team.
Yeah,
go make a movie where you don't have access to those resources. You piece of shit. This movie's good. I liked it.
My final thought is Taika Waititi, absolute monster, garbage man, scumbag. Good movie, though. Check out Hunt for the Wilderpeople.
We've definitely covered worse people than Taika Waititi.
But he is a scumbag. I think that's the thing, is that it's like, take his money away.
To be fair, if I was
rob him.
If I was in a throuple with Tessa Thompson, I also wouldn't be paying attention to directing a Thor movie.
Yeah, I would also be shitting on the VFX team.
I mean, maybe not that.
That was before he married Rita Ora then?
No, it was during.
The throuple.
Yeah, they were
She's the third person in the throuple.
That is a really hot throuple.
Some people need to stop living such a good life.
Yeah, we all agree. We all agree. You don't remember that going wild on social medias?
No, because I didn't give a shit about. I didn't see Love and Thunder.
Nor did I.
So I had no. I didn't even understand. I hadn't even seen fucking Tessa. I hadn't seen Tessa Thompson in anything.
Baby.
I didn't know who she
was.
Was.
Baby, I don't know.
I love Tessa Thompson.
I hadn't seen whatchamacallit. Was it Creed? She's in Creed, right?
Yes.
I don't know. She's in Westworld. That's why I know.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in Creed.
I hadn't seen any of those at that time, so I was like, I had no idea who she was. I didn't give a shit.
In Sorry to
I didn't
Bother
give a
You.
shit about Taika Waititi until I fucking saw Jojo Rabbit. And I was going to say something before you guys brought up the throuple, and it was Taika Waititi, hot wife, good for you. But now that I know he was in a throuple with Tessa Thompson, I'm like, Taika Waititi, hot throuple, good for you.
Well, I think I think that's as good a place.
Yeah,
to
I think that's the cherry on top.
Zoe, thank you for coming on the episode.
Thank you, Zoe. It was great doing an episode with you finally.
And now we are at the end of International Cinema Month.
Thank God.
And where are we going?
Well, we are going to be trying something new on this show.
New month, new theme, new theme.
Last year during August we did
Back to School, and then September
month.
We did International Cinema.
Exactly. So we switched it up this year. So this year we are going to be doing Sci-Fi September.
No. I don't know. I'm trying to find a sci-fi noise.
Get some sleep.
Perfect.
Just 30 seconds of us making random noises.
Yeah. That's our sound. Is we just do random. That's Sci-Fi Month. So it's kind of in the name. So we're going to be covering science fiction films. We have covered them in the past through other themes, like we did a fantastic sci-fi movie, Total Recall, during Blockbuster.
We did
month.
The Thing.
We did The Thing. We're excited to get. I was going to say spooky with it, but we're going to get sci-fi with it.
Yeah, good. This is awesome.
Is great.
We're doing a great job explaining something that is so simple.
Yeah. So, how are we kicking off sci-fi month?
I think we should go to you because you had a strong pick.
I do have. I don't know if it's a strong pick, but I have strong feelings about my pick.
I think it's a strong movie.
So. Wait, hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. Let me pull it up. I wasn't ready.
Chatter.
My cat is here.
Oh, is that Bagel or Biscuit?
A meow meow.
That's Bagel.
But
He's very shy, but Biscuit's at the vet, so.
Good.
Is that it? That's all the cat is?
That's all we had. Well, you have the movie up. Let's see.
So
what are we talking about?
We are going to be taking it way back.
Way back.
It's important to remember the roots of sci-fi and where it comes from. So we are going to be kicking off Sci-Fi Month with a childhood favorite of mine, Forbidden Planet. This is directed by Fred M. Wilcox. It's from 1956 and stars Leslie Nielsen.
Oh my God, it does.
Yeah,
Speaking of comedy straight, well, I don't know that he's. I guess in Airplane he's kind of the straight man, even though he's funny.
100%. But no, this is back when Leslie Nielsen had a regular leading man, handsome guy career before he was just in comedies. So there are a myriad of reasons why this is arguably one of the most important sci-fi films ever made, and I can't wait to watch it and discuss. And you can find it on... Oh my God. You can find it on our favorite sponsor, Tubi.
Hey, no, we're not. We are... Tubi? We are not endorsing you until you give us money.
Yeah.
We've already covered a movie that is technically a Tubi original this month with Muru. That's all you get. We will cover only Tubi originals if you give us $1 million.
$1 million.
That's all I need.
Yes.
$1 million.
You're being greedy.
I'm not being greedy. No,
Okay.
I'm not.
You can't buy new equipment.
You're not. One time, Cher had never been on the David Letterman show, and they asked her, why haven't you ever been? She's like, well, I'll come on for $28,000. Because at the time, she had a $28,000 hotel bill that she needed to pay. And that is not greedy, that's smart. Do you know how much debt probably the three of us are in altogether?
Exactly, Tubi. Share the love. You can also find it on Amazon Prime if you want to rent it. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you want to find us,
Tubi.
The Film Majors, you can find us at Film Majors Pod on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. We got a great listener email, which I'm going to save for our first episode of Sci-Fi Month.
Yeah.
So I just want to say I appreciated that correspondence, and we will be getting to it.
Was it from your dad?
Today. It was not from my dad.
Was it your dad?
Shockingly,
it was not my dad.
It was from a new listener.
I've gotten more emails than I can read from my dad. But
Happy Father's Day.
If you'd like to follow us on YouTube, we're there at the Film Majors.
Like, comment, subscribe!
Yeah, and give us a rating, follow the show, whatever you want to fucking do. Okay, we're out of here. Bye.
Bye.